Hello everyone, welcome to Friday Night Live, where I go through the hottest stories of the week, followed by a Q&A session where you can ask the questions in the comments down the bottom and I will answer them live. Hello, first person to join, AIJ, hi. I'm just going to give everyone a second to log on. Hi, thanks for joining me. I assume you're not watching the grand final, or preliminary final for the AFL. Or maybe you're watching both. Oh, someone said it's their favourite time of the week. Thank you. I'm wearing my hoodie tonight. It's freezing. I live in Geelong, just outside of Melbourne. It's freezing again. Like the weather just cannot make up its mind. But yes, hoodie weather tonight, which is nice. Sopha has conjunctivitis. Yes, I will talk about that tonight. It's a bit of a funny story. People have already started asking questions, so if you want to do that, you're welcome to. And I'll get started with the update. So, biggest story of the week, as always lately, is Tammy Hembrow and Matt Zukowski. So, Matt Zukowski last night, he did his live podcast event in Sydney with his co-host Anna McAvoy. And Tammy Hembrow was in the audience, as was her sister Star. And in question time, Star yelled out a question to Matt, "Do you love my sister?" And he said something like, "I'm falling." He said, "I'm not there yet, but I'm falling." And she goes, "No, that's not good enough. It's either a yes or a no." And he's like, "Oh, well," got a bit awkward about it, which is totally fair enough. But yes, they definitely were very heavy on the PDA last night, and the Daily Mail got quite a lot of paparazzi videos of them. If you go to the Daily Mail, they're on a post. And yeah, they have been really working the cameras. I'm loving it. Everyone's loving it. And then today, Tammy posted a picture of herself at the airport wearing Matt's shirt. It's the Where's Your Head At merch, but it looked like his actual shirt because it was oversized and he was wearing it to Sydney on Wednesday, I think, when he went up. So yeah, everybody's loving that relationship. Okay, next story. So Bianca and Bridgett have done... That's a fashion label. They've done a collaboration with Style by Bloom, which is Paul Versace, who is Olivia Molly Rogers' best friend. Okay, I'll say it again. So Paul Versace, who is Style by Bloom, that's like his stylist name. He has done a collaboration with Bianca and Bridgett, the fashion brand. So they had a pre-launch party on Wednesday night in Sydney. Emily Hembrow and Star were at that. And yeah, they had like the paparazzi at that to take photos of everybody arriving. And it's very funny because there was some footage released of the paparazzi, like getting the girls to like do the walk over and over again so that they could get good photos. And everybody found that quite entertaining. I was very confused why Olivia Molly Rogers wasn't at the dinner. And she was in New York City, but she came home that evening, I think it was. But it's just very weird because usually her and Paul Versace are inseparable. So normally he would be in New York City with Olivia Molly Rogers. So that was all a bit strange, but now it makes sense that that's why he stayed here for his pre-launch dinner. And then Olivia Molly Rogers did attend the lunch yesterday. So yeah, I thought there might be something that's going on there, but no, it seems that everything's all fine between those two, which is good. Next story. So I'm going a bit quicker today because I talk way too long normally. So I'm going to get through it a bit quicker. Next story I've got written down here is that Britt Hockley, she did an interview with Clare Stephens on her podcast, But Are You Happy? And yeah, it was quite an interesting podcast. So she talked a lot about her mental health. She spoke about how when she broke up with Jordan Thompson, I think last year, the media made it really, really difficult for her. So I think she was referring to So Dramatic, how they were like posting a lot of like speculation and things. And she was saying that she and Jordan didn't actually know where they stood in their relationship at the time. And yet the media was telling everyone that they'd split. And she said that was really hard on them, like deciding what they were going to do. They did end up splitting, of course. And she said that like the last 12 months of her life has been really, really dark and hard. And she's been very much mentally struggling. And she was asked to do the interview with Claire last season, like season 1, so maybe 6 months ago, I think they said. And she said no because she felt that the ultimate question is, but are you happy? Like, you know, you've got this great life, but are you happy? And at the time she said her answer was no. So she didn't want to do the interview. And she's now said that this time her answer is no. But there are plenty of moments where she is happy, but more often than not, she's actually not happy. And a lot of people thought that maybe this sort of interview was a bit of a sympathy thing, like she has been getting a bit of a bad rap lately and she wants a bit of sympathy. Maybe it was. Maybe she deserves that sympathy. I'm not sure. It's up to the individual to decide, of course. But Claire did mention at the end that Britt had refused to answer one question, which I'm assuming that question was about the slut-shaming incident with Abby Chatfield earlier this year. So Britt Hockley was co-hosting the Kyle and Jackie O show with Kyle Sandilands, and Kyle Sandilands, they were interviewing Young Gravy, and Kyle Sandilands laughed to Young Gravy about going on a date with Abby Chatfield and was like, oh, ha, ha, like everybody gets to go on a date with Abby Chatfield, essentially slut-shaming her. And Brittany joined in and was like, ha, 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 yeah, and like agreed with it. And of course, Kyle got away with it scot-free, but the media slammed Britt Hockley, saying that she was slut-shaming Abby Chatfield, and Abby also went along with that. And yeah, Britt, I believe that's the question she refused to answer in the interview. So that was interesting. And then the final big story that I've got for the week on my list here is that Jacko, Brazier and Morgan Waterhouse, Olivia Molly Rogers, I think ex, maybe boyfriend, maybe ex, they have released a podcast together. So Jacko is the ex-boyfriend of Brittany Saunders, for those OG YouTubers who would remember that relationship. He then also dated Sophie Bateslov, I think her name would be pronounced, and then he now dates Francoise, who was in Love Island season 1. So their podcast, I did talk about this on Close Friends, but I'm obviously not the target audience, but I was just a little bit shocked by it. Like, it was very much, it sort of seemed like it was just a conversation between friends just joking around. And there were actually quite a few good stories in there, but the podcast went for over an hour, and the good stories maybe took up like 10 minutes of that airtime. So I think they needed to edit it down and polish it up a bit. There were also some very inappropriate jokes. I guess we live in a very politically correct world at the moment, and I found them very confronting. They were laughing about putting peanut butter on their toes and having Jackson's dog lick the peanut butter. They didn't do it, but they were laughing about how funny it would be, which that seems gross to me. They also laughed about how Morgan's grandma used to hit them with a wooden spoon, and how Morgan got his sister in trouble and got her hit with a wooden spoon. Again, like, that's just sort of a bit weird to me to be laughing about child abuse, but I know I'm probably being overly sensitive, and I'm not actually affected, but I just am surprised that they would talk about this sort of thing in a podcast. They were also then mocking accents, like sort of imitating them, and they told a joke about a blind person, which, yeah, again, that's just sort of not what you would hear on podcasts these days, but I think they have a lot to learn. And they did tell a very interesting story about Morgan finding a cyst on his brain, and also they spoke about how Morgan, when he was 18, he was about to go to Canada and do summer camp for 6 months, and then a friend called him, and then the next day they flew to Europe, and he worked on the yachts in France, and he actually worked on Justin Bieber's yacht, so that was a pretty cool story. But anyway, that is the 4 main updates for the week, so I'm going to scroll the questions now and answer them. So yes, Sopha Dopha has conjunctivitis. So I did post this on Close Friends today, and then Sopha's alternative account called Not Sopha Dopha, she spoke on there about like just laughing about how her having conjunctivitis had become a news item, like newsworthy of me posting it, and was just laughing, making a mockery of it. But I think it's genuine. Like, she had posted maybe like 10 stories about having conjunctivitis, and I found it really interesting, and she obviously found it interesting enough to post about, so I found it interesting enough to repost it. People really like health updates. There's also like Abby Chatfield, she's currently in hospital for a kidney infection, so that's really interesting as well in terms of health updates. But yes, I thought, I did message Sopha, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. Like, I get that it's funny, and I am sure she was just being funny. Why is Tammy with that guy? So why is Tammy with Matt Zukowski? Well, I have no idea how they met. I would be very interested to know. I'd love to know, how they met, like how this relationship started, because I don't have any idea. Like, she lives in the Gold Coast, he lives in Melbourne, but yeah, I'm very interested in it. What did you say about Izzy and Sam? So in their latest podcast, Just for Girls, Izzy, Armitage and Sam Guggs, their podcast, they had an episode called Ask the Girls, and they mentioned in it that when they were at the Where's Your Head At podcast live show a few weeks ago in Melbourne, they were warned before they went on stage that I was in the audience and that anything they say might end up on my page, which it did. As they were on stage answering questions, I was typing them out and posting them to close friends. Like, it was instant. Yeah. And I was writing it word for word, of course. And Izzy mentioned that when her and Bailey Smith, the football player, were on a relationship break, he slept with 70 women. And yeah, it was an exaggeration. Like, nobody's thinking that he actually wrote down the 70 women and had an exact number and gave her that number. Like, we knew it was just like an exaggeration. But yeah, she was saying how it's just funny how, I wrote down it word for word and now it looks like he actually slept with 70 women. But yeah, nobody actually thinks that. And I felt really bad because they said that they were really anxious that I was in the audience, but they really don't need to be. Like, I'm not here to be mean or call anyone out or anything. I'm very interested. I love influencer culture. I want to know what they have to say. I want to share it with people who also are very interested in that. And yeah, I did message Izzy and I was like, I'm so sorry that you were anxious about me being in the audience, but I actually had spoken about her on my live and I only had positive things to say. Like, she was so great on the live stage. So yeah, I think that's all good. I don't think they hate me. Well, they have no reason to anyway. What else? There's a lot of people talking about illegal substance use on a recent video that I posted, but I have been deleting comments because we have no proof that anybody is using illegal substances, and I don't want a defamation case to come out of this post. Also, whenever I post videos of Tammy Hembrow, people love to comment about her children, what's best for her children, and do their children have this and don't have that, and it's just not necessary. I delete all comments about her children as well. Okay. So I'm just looking for a question that's a unique question. Like, there's a lot of people talking about Tammy. Oh, it's a lot of people talking about Tammy still. Yeah, it is funny. She said how a few weeks ago on TikTok that as a single parent, she doesn't have time to date when clearly she was dating. It's kind of ironic and funny. Someone's telling me that I'm so annoying, STFU. Okay. No one's forcing you to watch, sorry. I just listened to Lily Brown's podcast and thought, are Shani and Lily still friends? True. Well, she did mention at the start that she had some friends that helped her YouTube career grow, and she's still friends with them now, but they've just sort of gone their separate ways. So I think that would have been Shani and Michael that she was referring to. So yeah, I think that she is still friends with them, but they're just doing their own thing. I don't think there's anything that's gone wrong necessarily, but that's fair. Like, they've all got their businesses and things now. People are loving my podcast breakdown. So on Close Friends, I listen to podcasts probably one a day, and it's always like influencer podcasts, and I summarize the podcast. So that way people don't have to listen to the whole thing. They can just read my quick summary. It's all the best bits. But also maybe you will like reading the summary and then be like, oh, I want to go listen to the full episode. I've definitely been doing all of the high scrollers ones so far with Brittany Saunders and All Right Hey. They're very highly requested. I've also been doing the Red Hot Pod by Lily Brown, and I've been doing the Grow and Glow podcast by Ashy Bines and Keiara Dorrough. Is her surname Dorrough? Keeping Up with Aussie Influencers has mentioned here, I think Olivia Molly Rogers and Morgan Waterhouse are still together. They both like every post each other does in the last few days as well. Interesting. I guess watch this space. It's just weird that they're not addressing it because they would know that everybody is questioning it. So it's weird not to just simply address it. I don't know. What's happening with Gretty and Sammy's podcast? Well, I haven't heard anything more than them saying that they're organising to do one together. Maybe they're lining up people for interviews. They said they're going to be talking about like business and things, which, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what their podcast is. And obviously everybody wants them to talk about Ashy Bines, but I doubt that they will, but we will see. Thoughts on Ashy and Keiara's podcast? I think that they actually do talk about some controversial things, which I really like, because I find that a lot of influencers, they try to avoid controversial questions and topics, but yeah, I've noticed that they are actually addressing them, which I'm finding very interesting. Updates on Sarah's day. I suppose this week she has released her cookbook, Sunny Side Up, and it has gone straight to #1 on Booktopia, which is amazing and so exciting for her. I was listening to the Outspoken podcast today, and they were saying that apparently in order to become a bestseller, you've got to sell 5,000 copies. So yeah, I think that would be quite easy for her to do. Easy because of all the work she's put in, not just easy. Did you see Indy Clinton's pregnancy update last week? It was so funny. Elephantitis. I did see that on TikTok. So it was something about her downstairs region. There was some sort of swelling going on and she was in the hospital, and I think she was like on some sort of drugs that were making her a bit dizzy or giddy or something, and she was acting very strange and had the camera very close up in her face. But yeah, it was very funny, and I do enjoy her content, how real she is, I suppose. Thoughts on Ashy promoting another eyebrow product, not Nat's? I haven't seen her promoting another eyebrow product, but yeah, that is interesting because I thought that she was still very close friends with Nat Sinitsky. They did meet up with each other in Bali recently, but yeah, I suppose this other brand's paying Ashy and Nat's not, so that's just how it works, I guess. But again, I haven't seen the product, so yeah, I can't really answer that one properly, sorry. Jade Tunchi pregnant. So this came up last week as well. She's been posting a lot of photos, I suppose, with her bag covering her tummy and with her husband having his hands on her tummy. I don't know if she's not pregnant. She's definitely breadcrumbing it. Like a lot of people are asking if she is, but yeah, I guess watch this space. It's very common that when people get married, eyes start to really go on them. Like every move they make becomes, are they pregnant? And it's the same with like once your first child reaches about 1, everybody starts to look like, is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? And yeah, I mean, I don't know, it must be quite annoying for them, but people are only doing it because they're excited. I know that people, yeah, they mean well. That's the thing. Tammy Hembrow has 3 kids already and Matt Zukowski is infertile. Must be hard to date for him. Yes, well, I suppose that's a good thing. That if Matt and Tammy end up together long term, he automatically gains 3 children without having to biologically have children, if that makes sense. I do imagine that Tammy wants to have more children though. She seems like the Kardashians, where they want to have these big families, and she just seems to really love her children and love being a mum. So yeah, I don't know, but there's all different fertility options these days, so you never know what might happen. And yeah, I think that's really great for Matt that he would gain 3 children. Keeping Up with Aussie Influencers has asked here, do you think it's interesting that Sarah's Day doesn't have as many fans these days, but her book is #1? I suppose, yeah, like the Outspoken podcast said, it's 5,000 copies that you need to sell to be number one. I don't know if that's definitely the fact for Booktopia, but yeah, I think that she still does have a lot of fans. This kind of proves it, actually. And Outspoken Podcast also mentioned she has a lot of American fans, which I have actually said that a few times. And you can tell because her YouTube channel is still very popular, and the content she produces is kind of, you can tell, like with all the religious stuff, like it's very focused towards an American audience. So yeah, I wonder if that is a lot of the people that are purchasing her book. And I think that also the reason why she has a lot of haters, she has a lot of fans, but she also has a lot of haters. So it seems that she doesn't have that many fans, but the reason she has a lot of haters is because she has so many fans. Like, it's a numbers game. When she's got over 1 million followers, there's going to be a lot of people hate following her. And the thing is, a lot of them are probably still buying her book. That's what happens sometimes. Like, you might hate follow somebody, but you still get sucked into buying the things that they're promoting. Okay, what else? Oh, someone saying they're late to the party. I know who that person is. So what happens is I will post all of this on YouTube afterwards, and I'll do the timestamps again where you can just skip to the parts that you're interested in. Gosh, everybody's still talking about Tammy. Is she breastfeeding? I don't believe she is anymore. Have you heard any reviews of Paulie's skin? No, I haven't. I've seen a lot of people like receiving their package, but that's not a review. I think that it's probably a good thing I haven't seen reviews though, because you really can't review a skincare product or range until you've been using it for at least a few weeks. So hopefully reviews will come shortly. Sorry, if I don't know the answer to questions, I just skip past them because it's just a bit boring if I'm constantly saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But if I don't answer your question, make sure you DM me afterwards and we can talk about it, because I do love learning. Another person saying they love the Close Friends podcast summaries. If you do want to sign up to Close Friends, there's a link in my bio, and it's $20 for the year. And I know that it's getting close to the end of the year, but it's still only like $5 a month, and you'll get access to all the backlog of things that I've talked about this year so far. A lot of people are talking about Adele Marie. So someone asked, what is the general consensus about her? Do people like her? And, in my experience, and people like messaging me about her, people seem to really like her. She's a Melbourne influencer. She was dating Mickey, not sure of his surname, the one that was living with Khan. So Mickey and Khan, they seem to have had a falling out. I believe Khan has unfollowed Mickey, but Mickey has also moved out of Khan's house. So Khan has confirmed that. And yeah, Mickey was dating Adele for a while, and then Adele revealed that he was also dating other women. So they broke up. And yeah, people were really sad for Adele because everybody seems to really like her, and they really like her podcast as well, which I haven't listened to. So I'll have to put that on my list of podcast summaries to do. It's my sister actually. Hi, Kayla. She's suggesting I summarize the Happy Hour podcast episodes. Yeah, what I try to do is I focus on ones that influencers talk about themselves, because that's what we all want to know about. Like if they're going like Happy Hour, for example, the other day they interviewed, I think like a sex worker or something, and that's not one that I would summarize because it's not about the girls. If I did summarize it, I would pick out the bits where the girls talk about themselves, like the hosts talk about themselves. Gretty Rose only posts cringe hair posts now. Yeah, so Gretty Rose recently became a Monet consultant, where she buys hair products, uses them, tells other people to buy them, and then if they then tell other people to buy them, they all get commissions off each other, and it's one of those multi-level marketing arrangements. So that is her business now, I believe. I haven't heard anything about her fashion label, Thayer Collective, I think it was called. But yeah, I haven't heard of anyone buying it or anything. I imagine it still exists, but I haven't checked. It's something I need to look into actually. update on Sabo Skirt's Tessie's new home. So I did speak about that one last week as well. So she has announced that they've moved into their home. It's called Greece or Greek, something like that. And it's this massive mansion in Brisbane, I believe. And it just looks so, so beautiful. And everything is very just perfect. You need to look up her account if you're interested in house stuff. So Tessie, THESSI. And she is one of the owners of Sabo Skirt. Okay, someone's saying here that Nat Sinitsky's product is an eyebrow gel. So it's a lamination gel that makes your brows stick up. Whereas the product that Ashy Bines has been promoting is an eyelash growth serum. Okay, yeah, so they are two different products. Ashy has always been one that doesn't wear mascara and she has notoriously, not even notoriously, I don't know why I said that. She has very, very short lashes naturally. She has said that before. So I think that an eyelash growth serum is a very good fit for her in terms of branding, as long as it works, which it obviously is. So yeah, I think you could use that in conjunction with Nat's product. Okay, so there is no drama there by the sounds of it. What happened between Mitch Orville and his Brazilian friend who was always in their stories? So his Brazilian friend, Didge, I haven't got confirmation on this, but somebody anonymously messaged me one time saying that something happened with Didge and Hannah, and then all of Hannah's family, so Mitch and Angry Dad and Sharon, they all unfollowed Didge, and then that was it. That was the end of the friendship. But nobody, I've spoken about it multiple times, and nobody has come forward and said that it was them that messaged me. I don't have any more information than that, and it kills me. It really kills me. Yeah, someone's saying that the rumour is that he hit on Hannah and the family didn't appreciate it. Could be that. It seems pretty minor. Depends what sort of hitting on, I suppose. Oh yeah, so Kristen Fisher's money woes. So Kristen Fisher, the owner of Kristen Fisher Brows, it was released today by the Daily Telegraph that she owes $900,000 to creditors, including the ATO. So she was previously linked to Justin McKeon, which is Olivia Molly Rogers' ex-husband. But people thought that Kristen and Justin were dating when he was recently single, but no, I don't believe they were. I think they're just friends. But yeah, I think that the article was written from a court interview or something, because it had a lot of facts. And yeah, she said that COVID, having to shut down her business for 2 years, is a massive reason for the $900,000 debt, as well as going through a marriage breakdown during those 2 years. So I think that it's a really unfortunate position for Kristen, and it would just be horrible for her to owe that much money. But at the end of the day, she has got herself in $900,000 of debt. So I don't know how that would happen. I don't understand that, but it's only because I haven't educated myself on it. Ruby Tuesday Matthews and Dodsey, she's not wearing her engagement ring anymore. I think that this is a question I get asked most weeks. I think that she seems to take her engagement ring on and off. I am subscribed to her on Instagram, and she hasn't mentioned him recently now that I think about it. But yeah, I don't have any... I think that they are still together. She just keeps him very private. She just very rarely posts him, and it's probably a good thing, really. He does live in Sydney during the week, apparently, for work, and yeah. She's very focused on her children. She says that her eldest son has special needs, I think autism. And oh yes, that's a big story this week actually. She said that it's to do with his autism, where he collects Pokemon cards, and he has a Pokemon card book, and it's his comfort blanket. He takes it everywhere with him, and it's his real thing. He orders them, and when he gets a new card, he reorders the cards. And this week he lost the book, and I was watching the stories and I was so sad for him. I don't know why I got so emotional about it. But yeah, she was saying to him, I'm going to find this book for you. It's going to be okay. Tomorrow we're going to go backtrack everything and we're going to find the book. And thankfully she did find his book. So the poor thing, he was crying so much, but yes, he did get his book back. Sorry, just looking for another question. I'm really trying to like stick to just one subject and not like come back to it heaps of times this week, because I do that a lot and it makes it really hard when I do the timestamps. Apparently a lot of Americans were frustrated with the Sarah's Day cookbook because the cost of the book wasn't worth it with shipping. Tell me about it. Honestly, Australia Post shipping, international shipping rates are next level. I suppose every country's international shipping rates are next level. It happened with Steph Pace Planners recently as well. I was in like the Facebook group and people were saying it was like $45 shipping to New Zealand. And she was saying like, I'm sorry, but that's just what Australia Post charge. There's nothing else I can do. What are the Close Friends 2024 plans? Well, I don't really know. In my head, I keep going around and around in circles with the plans. I really wanted to try this subscription where it's like built into Instagram and they take like a monthly debit. But a lot of people have given me feedback that they don't want to be paying monthly. It's just like annoying for them and it's just like a thing that they don't want to have another monthly subscription. And also Apple or Android, they take a 30% cut. So if I was to charge $3 a month, I would only get $2 a month of that. And then, so it makes it more expensive for everybody else, like for customers to join in. Yeah, I just don't know. It would give me a lot more ability to post. Like I could post grid posts for people. I could do like close friends only lives. And yeah, I'd be able to post a lot more things. But I don't know. I really like it the way it is at the moment. But to have to sign everybody up again, like if I was to have to manually add 2,700 people again all at once, I just don't know how I could physically do that. It would take days. So that's the benefit of the Instagram subscription where it's all automated for me. So I don't know. If you have some feedback on what you would and wouldn't like for 2024, I would love to hear it in the DMs. Positive, negative, anything. Like any feedback's good. And if I hear the same things multiple times, it is really helpful. All right. Have you heard anything about the Brisbane TikTok event a couple of weeks ago? I heard it was a bit of a cringe fest. I haven't. I'd like to know more though. If people could let me know, DM me or like write it in the comments here and hopefully I'll get to it very soon. Everybody's asking about Denny. Every week people ask about Denny, but there's just been nothing the last few weeks. Like Denny has gone completely offline and nobody knows what's happening. So yeah, hopefully Denny's okay. That's all I can say. Like I really don't know anymore, sorry. Why do you think influencers are losing engagement compared to a few years ago? I think that a lot of people are spending less time on the platform. That's probably the most simple answer. I think a lot of people are getting older and therefore not wanting to spend so much time on social media. There's this whole like screen time culture where people are trying to minimize the amount of time they spend on social media. A lot of the younger people, like we were the younger people at one point using Instagram, but now those younger people are using TikTok, and then the older people are using Facebook. And yeah, so I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of reasons. And then also a lot of people are quite triggered by influencers and they don't want to be part of their life. They don't want to see these people earning heaps of money and buying all these flashy things. Like that people want to feel good about themselves, not bad about themselves. And there's this real mental health culture as well about unfollowing people who make you feel bad about yourself. So I think there's quite a lot of reasons why the engagement has dropped for influencers compared to a few years ago. Has Gracie Piscopo said anything recently about the scandal with her ex? No, she hasn't. The last thing she said about Andre Rebello's case is don't believe everything you read. She said that in the comment section of her TikTok. So don't believe everything you read is what she said. Who knows what that means? Do you follow American influencers or only Aussies? So I got asked this question last week as well, and I only follow Aussies, and I follow a few from the UK as well, but I don't post about them. I do post about Molly May every now and then to close friends because I did a poll and asked if people would like me to post about her, and majority said yes. But other than that, I'm strictly Australian influencers. I think that that's just my niche. Like, people come to my account because that's what they want to hear about. Okay. My sister's saying she would help me with the administration of signing everybody back up to close friends. Good answers on the engagement stuff. Keeping Up with Aussie Influencers agrees. Thank you. I love talking to like the other influencer commentary accounts. Like, we talk a lot in the DMs and it's really fun. I miss Dutch Minty. Like, I've been messaging her and she's just not replying, which is really sad. I think I've nearly caught up, which would be great. People are asking for a Mick Tester update, but I just don't have anything at the moment. I'm trying to think, but yeah, I can't think of anything that's happened recently. Sorry, I'll have to have a look at her account and get something for next week, because yeah, there's always something going on with her. All right. Oh, sorry, last question. Will Ashy's Adelaide tour sell out, or has she reached her peak? I definitely think that Adelaide was not the right place for her to do this tour. I think that she should have come to Melbourne, because whenever anything comes to Melbourne, it sells out instantly. Like, there's so many people in Melbourne. There's so many people who love doing things. We have great public transport, and she definitely has a lot of followers in Melbourne and Geelong. I would have gone if she wasn't opposed to that. But yeah, I think that she should have come to Melbourne. I think that Adelaide just doesn't have that same culture of people wanting to go to events all the time. And yeah, I believe that she has downsized the venue, but yeah, it doesn't look like she has sold out. And she has introduced now $40 tickets. So at first, the general administration was $80. Sorry, general admission was $80, and it included like a month access to her app. But then, because of the poor ticket sales, she then introduced a $40 general admission ticket that didn't include the access to her app. But yeah, it looks like it still hasn't sold out. Oh, someone's saying Dutch Minty exposed herself by mistake in the Facebook group Tea Time. That's probably why she isn't replying. Oh, that's really sad. That would have been so stressful for her, but I wish that more of these influencer accounts would show their face, because it's really fun. And yes, it does limit what you can say, but you can still say a lot, and it's really fun. Okay, well, thank you everybody so much for tuning in, and thank you for your questions. Again, if you want to sign up to Close Friends, the link is in my bio. You can DM me about it if you've got any questions, but I will talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye.